This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and we love making this show available to you free of charge. If you'd like to help us keep it that way, make a contribution to our Karma Jar or become a show sponsor. To learn more, visit our website. Today I'm making salted caramel hot chocolate, and I'm using the chocolate ganache mixtures that I made in episode number 34. Now, whether you like your drink made with traditional chocolate or a white chocolate, you can follow along with me by getting your smartphone and scanning the QR code here on the screen, and the recipes will pop right up for you. Now for this hot chocolate, the first thing we need to do is make our salted caramel sauce. And this is something that you can keep in the refrigerator and have on hand to put in all kinds of things. Not only hot chocolate, but you could put it into regular coffee or you could put it over ice cream. So it's a great sauce to have on hand. Now I'm going to be using a medium-sized saucepan. I want to make sure that I have enough room for the ingredients because sometimes they bubble up a little bit. And in my saucepan, I have a half a cup of butter. I've cut it into cubes just because I find it melts a little quicker. Bring the pan over, put it on a medium heat until the butter is completely melted. And then I'll take a cup of brown sugar, put it in the butter, and then I'm going to whisk this together until it comes to a rolling boil. Now, do you see how it's beginning to boil? You can see some of the bubbles starting to come to the surface. That's not quite far enough. We want to bring this to a rolling boil, and let me show you what that looks like. Now, do you see how the whole top is beginning to bubble? That's called a rolling boil, and that's what we want. So now we're going to take a half a cup of heavy cream, and you don't want to dump it in. You want to pour it in a little bit at a time because you can see it starts to bubble a little more furiously. And then I'll stir that up, and I want to bring it back to a rolling boil. Now you can see we're back to a rolling boil, which is what we want. And then I have a teaspoon of vanilla that I'm going to add. And then a half a teaspoon of salt. Now I'm using a kosher salt, but you could use a sea salt or a fleur de sel. I'll stir that up, and now I'm going to remove it from the heat. Now this is really, really hot, and you can see the sauce is really, really thin. It's a little too thin, and we need it to cool down a little bit. So I'm going to just let this sit on the counter for about 20 minutes. Now I have a little container, and I'll put the cooled caramel sauce right in there. Now while the caramel sauce is still warm, it's a good idea at this point to just taste it and see if it has enough salt for you. I like the half a teaspoon, but if you like it saltier, you can add more to your taste. And then I can just put this into the refrigerator with a lid on it and warm it up whenever I'm ready to use it. Now let me show you how we're going to make our salted caramel hot chocolate. In each cup, I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of my caramel sauce. Now if this had been in the refrigerator, it would be quite solid now, and I would just let it warm up in the microwave like on medium power until it became nice and liquidy. And once I have the caramel in, I'm just going to run it along the inside of the cup, just like this. It almost coats the inside. Now we'll put the ganache in our cups. So if you want regular hot chocolate, we'll use 2 tablespoons of the chocolate ganache because it's such a strong and intense flavor. We don't want it to compete with the caramel too much. But for the white chocolate, go ahead and put 3 tablespoons of the white chocolate ganache in your cup. And then I have some milk. I'm using a 2% milk. And I'm going to put about a half a cup or so in. And then I'll pop these into the microwave for about a minute or a minute and a half until the milk is nice and hot, but you don't want it to bubble over. And then I'll take a spoon and I'll stir that together, mixing the ganache and the milk and the salted caramel sauce. Then top with whipped cream and a drizzle of caramel sauce on top. If you'd like to try this salted caramel hot chocolate at home, just go to our website and go to the Sweet World show notes and I'll have the recipe there for you. Don't forget to join us on Facebook. That's where I put a lot of behind the scenes info. And as always, if you have any questions or ideas for me, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.